Hello ladies, it's Charli here with your day 2 mental health project or exploration, or let's get curious about our mental health. So I hope this video finds you well. Let me know below how you are, because the reason I'm doing this little exploration is because so many of us have issues day to day, or in our relationships, or in our job, and we keep a lot of that stuff inside. We keep a lot of that stuff close to our heart, and I think talking about it, communicating, connecting is such a big deal for all of us. So number 2 today is I'm going to be talking about stress. So how many of you feel stressed? Let me know. And it might take different forms for all of us. So we have 2 systems in our body: parasympathetic system and the sympathetic system. And the sympathetic nervous system is responsible for flight and fright, which you've probably heard of: running away, or fighting, freezing, fawning and fainting. There's 5 F's to that system, okay? But most of us know it as the fight or flight system. And the parasympathetic system is responsible for rest and digest. And most of us don't do enough resting or digesting, or we just don't do enough of that. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is, aside from that, it's the cortisol, which you've probably heard of, the stress hormone cortisol, that gets activated, that gets released every time we get stressed. And that gets released. Say if we're in like road rage, say if we're in the car and we're like, we get either road rage, or we kind of get that, thinking something's going to happen. You feel that release. You feel that release of adrenaline. You feel that release of cortisol. You'll actually feel that physically. But we can also activate that with our thoughts. So our brain doesn't know the difference between what's happening in real life and what's happening in our thinking mind. So if we think stressful thoughts, we activate the stress response. The cortisol gets released. Now, too much cortisol in our system causes cellular stress. It causes cells to break down, and this can contribute to chronic stress over time. And essentially, in the end, we can become quite ill from chronic stress and too much cortisol. So what we need to do is really think, or try to kind of take little mental health breaks during the day. So a lot of us are working from home at the moment. I work from home anyway, so it's not really any different from me, but I know a lot of people are working from home at the moment. So cortisol is naturally released when we wake up. It's like, we need cortisol. It's not bad for us. It's just that too much is bad for us. So we need to regulate it. We need to balance it out. So it gets released when we wake up. That's why hopefully we're wide awake. I might do one on sleep this week, but hopefully we're wide awake when we wake up, because cortisol has been released. Now, if we don't move, if we're sedentary through the day, if we go from our bed to our work desk, which might be in the house at the moment, or depending on where you work, it might be a stressful environment, it might be chemically stressful, it might be that there's people around you that you find difficult. There just might be a lot of stress in your life. So if we don't move, if we're sedentary, if we stay seated all day, then that cortisol builds up and builds up and builds up through the day, and it has nowhere to go, and that's where it can cause quite a lot of stress on our system. So this is my advice for you today: move. Try to move. So if you are working, doesn't matter where you're working, but just try and take little breaks. So maybe say I'm going to work for an hour and a half, and then I'm going to get up and walk around and move. Or you might just want to work for 30 minutes or an hour. It depends. Like, you figure out what's best for you, and then you get up and move around, go outside, get some vitamin D, just shake your body a bit. It doesn't matter if you do your exercise in the morning. It doesn't matter when you do your exercise, if you do exercise, right? Just move, just walk, whatever you like to do. Singing is really good. Some of you like to sing, some of you like to draw, some of you are creative. It doesn't really matter what you do, but just get up and kind of move around. If we don't complete that stress response, when it gets activated either by our thoughts or by somebody else, or you know, if we think about money or if we think about COVID, it depends how we kind of consider what stresses is completely unique for us. But if we don't complete that cycle, it just kind of stays and it doesn't really do anything. So 3 things that I would recommend if you can't move or you don't want to move and you don't want to exercise: find a pillow, find a tennis racket or a hockey stick or a broom and smash the shit out of the cushion. Make sure there's no children around or anybody that could think you are slightly mad. But this has been researched to help release some of that stress. Now, for some people who have got chronic pain, who don't want to smash the shit out of something, or who are disabled, what you can do is lie flat if you can, or sit in a comfortable position, close your eyes down and just tense and release. Just tense and release and go through each body part. So shoulders, tense and release. And just really visualize that cortisol coming out of your system. And this has also been researched and proven to really help release and complete the stress cycle. And often what we find is in those situations that some people can feel a bit emotional, and that's okay, because that's something else that we do innocently, is that we block down, shove down, push down emotion. What we want to do is release it. If you feel like crying, just cry. It's okay. It's all good. We need to feel it all. What else did I put here? So, yeah, we all know about the benefits of exercise, but doing the things that I've just said, if you hate exercise or you just don't want to do it, smash or lie flat and just tense and release each muscle in your body. As I said, dancing and singing are just as good in those scenarios. One other thing that you can do, I think I've got 5 things here, 5 things. When we're stressed, we deplete the salt in our adrenal glands. So make sure you've got some salt in your food, but not kind of refined salt, sea salt, Himalayan salt, something good, something that's a little bit more expensive, but that will last longer. But just have a little bit of salt either in your water or on your food, but that very good salt. We want our adrenal glands to be okay. One other thing you can do, this sounds a bit grim if I'm honest, but research has shown that it lowers cortisol and your blood pressure. It's to take a cold shower. What do we think about that, ladies? Do we think cold showers would be good? I've done it before, yeah, I did run out screaming. But have a cold shower if you can bear it, even if it's just like for 5 seconds, because it helps with our breathing. It helps it does lower cortisol, it does lower the blood pressure, and it encourages deep breathing. So that's what we want. Breathing is my number 4. So just relax. So if you are going to take a break every hour and a half, and you don't want to just constantly smash the shit out of a cushion, breathe in and breathe out. Make a conscious decision to do that. I know for me, when I was smoking, I would go outside, I'd breathe in and breathe out. I thought it was the fag that was helping me calm down, but actually it was the deep breathing. Who knew? And breathing also activates the parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest, which is what we want because it lowers cortisol. And the last thing I've got here, which is really simple, is just to increase your water intake. It's that kind of old adage, much hydration, because a lot of us get depleted by drinking coffee, drinking tea, eating sugar, but we just want to drink a lot of water. And with the salt thing, what I do is I add a teeny bit of Himalayan salt and some magnesium liquid, but I'm going to talk about magnesium on another video this week when we talk about sleep, and I'll show you what I take. Anyway, breathe. Hope that was helpful. Bye.